try to call it fun, fabulously unfettered enjoyment, or freely unabridged enjoyment, or whatever mix of words you would like to make it. Enjoyment, however, is the key to having a better life and a better workplace. How do you maintain your enthusiasm at work? But to put a limit on the excessive fun that we have, however, may I introduce to you our timer, Melinda Muganzo. Melinda, please explain for us your function today.
She's not here.
Oops. Yeah, there's so many people here. I didn't notice that she wasn't. Is anybody interested?
I can take the role. I don't have anything else going, do I?
Okay, Frankie, please tell us what the timer function does.
Okay, let me get going here. Well, my role is to keep us on time, so I will be timing the speakers. Are all the speeches 5 to 7 minutes? No.
Well,
Roz,
mine is 4 to
Yes.
6, and Taya say 5 to 7.
Okay. So for 4 to 6, you'll see the green screen at 4, the yellow at 5, and red at 6 to wrap it up within 30 seconds. For 5 to 7, it is 5 at green, 6 yellow, 7 red. For table topics, which are 1 to 2 minutes, you have the green screen at 1 minute, the yellow screen at 1.5, the red screen at 2, and then again 30 seconds to wrap it up. And we will have, looks 5 to 10 minutes on feedback available. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster. Get this right here.
Someone else came in, but that was not Melinda, was it?
No,
Oh,
Dr.
that
Luana.
was Dr. Luana, yes. Okay. Anyhow, we have business challenges, and we have a couple business challenges today with round robin responses. Our first challenger has been a Toastmaster since 2005. She's doing the Icebreaker project from the Pathways program, where her path is presentation mastery. And over the next 4 to 6 minutes, she's going to discuss whether she wants to write a book with her speech title, To Write or Not to Write. That is the question, of course. Please welcome our newest Pathways DTM, by the way, recipient, Roz Carter.
Thank you, Toastmaster Werner. Wow. I did not want to make that mistake calling you Madam Toastmaster, so I will change it to Toastmaster Werner. How about that? To write or not to write? That is the question. For me, at least, many of you have heard me say, I'm going to write a book. And it all started 17 years ago when Taya found me as her birth mom. And what a delightful journey that has been. We've traveled, we've done many things worth writing about. And that was my intent. And then just 1 year ago, or 11 months ago, that we started a podcast, and our new episode is airing today. Would you believe that we are telling stories through the podcast about our journey? The same journey that I intended to write a book about called I Found Her. But through the podcast and the transcripts that I receive after each episode, I find that, oh, sure, I could write a book. I could use the transcripts as my starting point. to help write. Some of you may know Dr. Lowana wrote a book about her blogs. And she said she gathered all of the blogs that she had written and wrote a book called 31 Days of Blogging. I will ask you to check that out. Now, some of you blog. I don't know how many of you have a podcast, but my podcast is so enjoyable. And I want to extend that story through a book, or so I thought. A few weeks ago, I started saying to myself, do I really need to write a book? I've got the podcast. I've got speeches that I could give in Toastmasters. I could tell my story anytime. So why would I want to write a book? So I asked those of you who have written a book, how does it feel? Did you feel like you accomplished something? Was it worth the effort? Do you think that maybe you didn't have to write it after all? And that's where my challenge is. I'd like to invite all of you to think about this. Would you want to write a book? Would you think that it's too much work, too much effort? Why would I want to come up with something that I could just tell a story about instead of putting it in writing and crafting it around the contents of a book with the opening, all the chapters, and some kind of conclusion that makes the story well written? I've read lots of books and I enjoy it actually because the story that people are telling, it's encompassing a life journey. It's encompassing some struggles. And I think about what did it take for those who have written a book? How did you craft it? How did you put it together? Was it difficult to get all of your thoughts on paper so that you could look around at your friends and perhaps new friends who read your book and say, yes, I'm glad I wrote that book because it touched this person and this person and this person. And I did not know that it would do that. I thought I was just telling my story. But was I doing it for me or was I doing it for the reader? The reader has to be the main focus of why you write a book. It's usually not about yourself, even though you're writing about yourself. You want to touch the lives of others through your book so that they can then say, oh, I really enjoyed that book, and I'm going to tell my family and friends about it. Wouldn't you like them to share your book with their friends so that now you have more readers? But the podcast, I feel, does that as well. Maybe it doesn't have a far-reaching audience as a book might have, but I still think it reaches a lot of people that are interested in hearing the stories through the podcast. So I am self-fulfilled in more ways than one because the podcast is telling the story. Do I feel like I might be repeating myself from the podcast to the book if I use those transcripts? What do you think I should do? Or if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you write or not write and continue just telling the story through a podcast, through speeches, and maybe still reach a significant audience. My question is on the table, my challenge. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Roz Carter. Yeah, it takes quite a bit of effort to put out a whole book, but it might be worth it. Is it worth it? We have feedback and brainstorming period for the next 10 minutes. Who would like to give a round robin feedback? I see. Mariatu, you have your hand up. Virtually, of course.
Hello, Toastmasters. Yes, it's worth it. To answer your question, I feel when I wrote my book, when I was writing my book, it was a way of healing myself. And now it has become something bigger or larger than what I expected it to be, because I have it here at the salon and I have it in Las Vegas. Although it's on Amazon, I did not get the reviews that I wanted on Amazon. As much as I've sold over 600 copies on Amazon, it doesn't show that because people are not writing reviews. But for the fact that it's here with me at the salon, when people read it, people that I thought were way more established than me, that have things going for them, that their life is all put together, at least in my eyes, before they read my book, now are reaching back and saying, oh my God, too, your book, I'm going through, one lady reached me, she said, I'm going through a divorce and your book is getting me through it. And then another lady said, oh my God, too, I was molested, sharing the same kind of story that I shared in my book. So now I'm starting to understand that people can relate and people are ready to either heal. The other day, this is just an example why you should write your book. A lady called me up here, and this is at my Las Vegas location. But she called me up here at the California location, and she's like, I want the lady that's on your website to do my hair. And I said, well, that would be me. She said, something has drawn me to you. Your beautiful smile on your website has drawn me to you. And I just have to have you do my hair. I said, well, I'm the one that's going to have to do your hair anyway. So once I got to Nevada and she saw my book on the site, so we spent a whole hair session basically crying, both of us, because this woman started to just open up to me. And this is the first time I've met this woman. And just sharing stories, why she has thought about writing a book, but she's scared, she's ashamed, she's this, she's that, she don't want people to know her past. Just very uncomfortable things that she does not want to share, but that has happened to her. And I said, I think God put you in my path for me to tell you that it's okay to write your book. It's okay to share your stories. There are people hurting. There are people out there that need to hear your story. There are people out there that need to know that they too can be okay. Whatever they've been through, they can get through it. And they can do that through a book and sharing their story. So that's why I think you should write your book.
Thank you so much, Mariatu.
Thank you, Mariatu. Next in line, Frankie Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and thank you, Roz, for sharing. I have been struggling with the same question, and yet I agree with you, Mariatu, that there are people that we don't even know we will affect. And all of us have a story to share. All of us have experiences that will empower other people, that may break through a barrier that they've had within themselves. So please take the time to, and also it's therapy for you to let that out. We're meant to express with our thoughts and our deeds and of course our story. So I encourage you to go for it. Back to you, Mr.
Thank you.
Toastmaster.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. April Gillis, please.
Good morning. I am so excited to hear your contemplation and thank you for bringing this as a business challenge. My perspective, I share for many others, but for a different reason. I too think that you should write your book. One thing that I've recognized is technology changes. And I believe one thing that we could say hasn't changed are books, tangible books. Maybe they've changed to digital form. Maybe they've changed to audible versions. But at the end of the day, we still have libraries full of books. It's a tangible thing that you can pass down to your grandchildren and great grandchildren. They can feel it in their hands. They could sit in a corner. They can nestle it up. They can hold it. They can feel it. And that's something that cross generationally, a podcast, although wonderful, technology is always changing. But books, when was the last time you really threw away a book? And people donate books, but how long did those books sit on the shelf or in the corner or in the bag before they finally release them to let them go, to donate them? So from that perspective, and for the plea cross generationally, and just seeing how fast technology can change, that tangible book is something that will cross the generations. It's a story they'll always hold. And that's a piece of you and Taya that has been near and dear to me, that they can nuzzle up in their chair and always have generationally. So thank you for your consideration.
Wow. Thank you so much, April.
Thank you, April. We are almost out of time, but I do believe Dr. Lawana Parker should have a voice here. Please, Dr. Lawana.
Thank you. I'll say this real quickly. I do think you should write a book. Just think about one, the Bible, two, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill's been gone almost 100 years, and yet his words are still resonating with people that he obviously will never meet. So your story is important. There's somebody who needs to hear it, as Mariatu said, needs to hear your story. It can make a difference in that person's life. I really believe that we are here to help people. And when you put that out there, you're helping someone. When you don't, somebody who needs that help may never get it because they need your story, not mine, not anybody else's on here, but your particular story. And the other thing is, it makes you an authority. People will gravitate to you who knew what you could do, but suddenly because you have a book out there, you're now more knowledgeable, even though you're the same person. But somehow that book makes you seem as if you know more. And one of the last things I want to suggest is that even though it's difficult to write a book, they do have ghostwriters. They can help you write a book. Just make sure that you get a good one and one who will take the time to get to know you, because they need to write in your voice, your words, and there are some who are pretty darn good about doing that. So I'm encouraging you. Please write your story. It definitely will heal you. It certainly helped me when I did mine. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
comment.
We can segue into our next challenge. And our next challenger has been with Toastmasters since 2018. She's working on the Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring Project from the Pathways program, where her path is visionary communication. Over the next 5 to 7 minutes, she's going to share her business challenge with her speech title, Coach, Consultant, or Mentor, Deciding on My Next Stream of Income. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Taya Reed.
Well, good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So when I first began my career as a therapist back in 2008, the main stressors that I faced came from getting all of those 3,000 post-externship hours, along with trying to meet clients' expectations, struggling to find my niche, and feeling the varying degrees of self-doubt. What surprised me, though, was just how quickly and intensely the financial stress began to impact me. Being a therapist at a nonprofit agency doesn't necessarily generate a lot of income. And with the combination of the professional and financial stress, it led me down a road of burnout and wondering how to make my passion have purpose. And then I decided to pivot and establish my own private practice in the height of the pandemic. That was a very hard decision, but a necessary one, and one that I am so thankful for because it launched me into becoming an entrepreneur. I am the founder of Sound House Therapy, and along the way, I began a podcast with my birth mom, Roz. Today, though, in my third year of private practice and rounding out my first year as a podcaster, I am considering what's next. And that's why I started exploring how to develop another stream of income. As I researched this more, the benefit of diversifying my work became abundantly clear. It is freedom. Freedom from the weight and uncertainty of financial stress. Freedom from the heavy demands of a constant and overflowing caseload. But the first step toward that freedom is knowing what are some of my options for another stream of income. And that's when coaching came to mind. Coaching is a mix of teaching, motivating, and problem solving. And it can be a great option for me because I already possess the skills required to be a good coach. From what I've learned so far, it seems that therapists are uniquely qualified in this area. And I do believe that I bring a certain level of quality and professionalism that's hard to match. And yes, there are certification programs, which I've been looking into, but it doesn't seem like it's a necessity to get started. My focus would be to specialize in adoption. This would give me that specific niche and would allow me to build credibility in a specific topic from which I have a lived experience. Now, the second thing that came to mind is providing supervision, or what I would tag here as mentoring. Providing mentoring would allow me to give back to up-and-coming therapists. And it was something that I did when I worked at a group practice. Because all of my sessions are done virtually, the accessibility of being a supervisor/mentor would be fairly easy, and I could market myself in such a way to draw those potential associates. When I reflect on my own career of what I was exposed to as a mentor, it was in the form of a supervisor. The thing that I reflect most about my mentor is that she gave time to me weekly, discussing clients, and this took place over the span of 2 years. Those 2 years, although in a formal setting, oftentimes, though, were met with personal challenges. And my supervisor was willing to engage me about all of those things and offer guidance. And yes, again, her primary role was to help me solve those specific problems with clients, but she became a trusted guide and advisor and transferred so much knowledge to me over the span of those 2 years. Now, last, there is consulting. And consulting requires that you have a certain level of expertise with a specific population. It could be around a certain theory or a diagnosis that I specialize in. I need to be able to do that in order to offer these services to other therapists, professionals, or companies. Basically, it would require me evaluating my skill set and considering what I'm passionate about, and then start looking at those connections that I already have, and then share that desire within my network. From what I've read, this could be a bit harder initially to dive into because I would need to demonstrate my expertise in something. Consulting, though, could be a great way for me to make further connections in my community and therefore build that credibility. So there you have it, fellow Toastmasters. 3 possible streams of income: consulting, supervision, or what I tag as mentoring, and then coaching. Which option should I lean into as the next additional stream of income? Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Taya Reid. Opportunities, opportunities. It's so nice to be able to have a choice. But then, of course, we scratch our head and wonder, oh my goodness, am I doing the right thing? We have opportunity for feedback and brainstorming for the next 10 minutes. And I see April is just ready and raring to go. April Gillis, please.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Congratulations on launching your practice during the pandemic. There's just so much more that I want to say, but I will limit my comments here. A thought that I'm not sure if you and your mom considered maybe co-authoring your I Found Her book, that you both become the authority, like Dr. Luana said. And so as you're launching whichever of the 3 options, you add a 4th option with your book streams for both of you. And that gives you the authority that as you're going out as the consultant or the coach or whichever, you already have the educational credentials and the experience. But as Dr. Luana said, you add in that author credential, and that can strengthen your ability and kind of shortcut that time frame that it'll take to build that credibility as a consultant or a coach, because you have that authority as an author. And you guys are doing the podcast together anyway. So if you co-author the book, you both can leverage that strength, one for the history and one for the launching of that 4th. And again, bringing that authority. And I think that will lift the platform and just make it a lot easier for people to hear your message. And Dr. Lana, thank you for sharing that advice. I think that goes across the board and strengthens that authority. So that's my feedback. And hopefully that 4th stream of income will help lead to the other 3. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. I actually have thought of that. I have not fully discussed that yet with Roz, but I have a title in mind. So it's interesting that you bring that up, April. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And certainly a person that has very close knowledge of all that's going on in your life, Roz Carter, has something to add.
Yes, congratulations, Taya, on looking into streams of income, because that's what entrepreneurs do, right? And you have an excellent practice. You will be co-authoring the book with me. I know it because we've talked about it. And I think that it was a good suggestion from April that it lends authority to the audience that reads the book or even listen to the podcast. But you have the talents and the energy to create something. And I think of the three that you mentioned, I'm leaning on coaching because you have that skill set and you can get certification in that. There's life coaches, there's coaches for a variety of things, and you could pick one and be excellent at it. Mentoring, of course, comes in and supporting people and even advising them on better ways to manage their life. But I think coaching might be, in my opinion, your best option. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you. And Susan Vanderberg.
Good morning. Out of the three that you've mentioned, I've done 2 of 3. But I think what's most relevant for what you want from the questions that you posed is likely to be a consultant. Because as a consultant, you could actually position yourself to be a trainer in front of a group of people and to share whatever it is that you want to share and to train people on certain concepts that are not widely available, or you could update people on certain ideas that your book might not have covered, or your podcast might not have yet covered, or maybe you could even use your training sessions as a way to engage more followers, possibly have more people subscribe to your programs. I'm just brainstorming on types of programs that could come about when you become a consultant, which is really positioning yourself to be a presenter or a workshop trainer type of opportunity. So I hope that helps.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate that feedback.
You're welcome.
Yes, certainly workshops are a very good opportunity. And one can then be face to face among a whole group of people that might not be what we usually would have as a client per se.
Mhm.
Very good. Dr. Lawana Parker. Yes.
Actually, Susan kind of stole my thunder there. I was going to say the same thing about coaching because you can take that book and create workshops from it, you know, because you have a message there and you can reach additional people. You can take that book and create Facebook posts or Instagram posts or LinkedIn, and also if you're writing a blog, you can even take sections of that and put it on your blog and expand on something that maybe you didn't have in the book. So there's so many things you can do. But coaching, I kind of like coaching a little bit more. Both are good. Consulting means you're specializing in something, and that's what people are gonna approach you about. But I my personal feelings, you get more options when it comes to coaching, and people are always looking for good coaches. And everything under the sun needs a coach. Even coaches have coaches.
Mhm.
Okay, so just so
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
everybody has a coach because they can't do it alone. And I don't think we were ever meant to do things alone. But whatever way you go, whichever way you go, I think you're going to do a great job at it. And you and your mom working together, I really envy you that that you have that relationship. That's when I think maybe I should have had a girl. But congratulations to both of you on whatever decisions that you make, because I feel that you'll be great at it. And that's
Thank
just
you.
another way to reach more people, because some people like workshops, some like reading, some like listening to podcasts, some like reading posts on different social platforms. So you have many ways to reach more people.
Oh, I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Luana. Anyone else, either on Taya's or Roz's, before we move on to table topics? Yes, Susan.
I love speaking. I didn't have a chance earlier because I thought we were out of time for Roz. Writing a book has its drawbacks, but it also has its positives. And so my answer is it depends. Depends on what you're trying to get out of it. Is it the fulfillment, the joy that you get after you accomplish publishing the book? Or is it like, oh man, I did that. Oh no, I better get that back, And that's exactly what happened with me on my very first book. I was like, oh no, I published. I need to take that back, right? So I took it back. But then the next thing was regret. Oh man, I need to publish something. So then I found a co-authoring group and I actually got published in Australia. Then I got another co-authoring group and I published in California. And now that book has traveled the world. So yes, you should write the book. If you don't feel any regret later on that you feel like you might tell yourself, oh man, maybe I should have done it. But if you write something and you regret writing it, regret sharing with the world, then maybe you shouldn't write it because those words live forever. I mean, on a page, once printed, it's like set in stone. So good luck.
Thank you. And may I interject? Excuse me. For everyone in this club who has written a book, if you could let us know the title of your book, where we could find it, whether it's Amazon or on a bookshelf, I would appreciate it, and maybe others will too. Let us know where you have published a book, and I'd love to read it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, both of you, Roz and Taya. We all, at this point, are going to be able to have the ability to be able to respond to alternate set of questions that Rosabelle Young has. Table topics is, of course, where we are put on the spot, just like if a journalist came up and was wanting to know more about you and more than just what's in your book. Rosabelle Young, please tell us more about table topics today.
Mr. Toastmaster. Table Topics is going to be the District 12 contest this year. And we do need to take table topics seriously and practice. And remember that the structure is basically like a mini speech, 1 to 2 minutes long. But when you hear the question, I'm sure my questions are not as good as or challenging as those of the contest, but think about the basic structure of having a topic, a call to action, and a brief middle explanation or example leading to that call to action. When the question is asked, think of that call to action first, because even in 1 to 2 minutes, you do want to try to get a punchline across to your audience. Here goes. In this era of Thanksgiving, we're thinking about thanking people that are close to us or we've known, maybe neighbors or people in our church, or about helping others, such as at a food bank. But sometimes we may not be able to thank people because we receive acts of kindness from strangers. Tell us about an act of kindness that you received from a stranger. Dr. Lawano, please.
Thank you. Do we have a word of the day that we're supposed to use? If not, okay. I do have an act of kindness. Somebody did something for me that was very special, and we're friends today. I went to this leadership workshop. I thought I was prepared financially. I had this money that was supposed to be extra money that I could spend on things. What I didn't know when I got there was that they didn't provide the parking. You had to pay for the parking. And it wasn't just a few dollars. It was $20 a day. And I'm there 5 days of that week for this thing. and I had exactly $100, which I had to give them for parking. And I'm going, oh my God. Well, it's a good thing I bought snacks. I'll just make those stretch for the week. My first day, we had to go to lunch together. We were put with partners in groups. And I told them, I said, if you don't mind, I will meet you back after lunch. And my partner insisted that I come. So I said, okay, I'll go. And then everybody's ordering. I didn't order. And she says, aren't you eating lunch? And I said, no, I'm not hungry. And she goes, oh, you have to have lunch with us. And so finally I had to admit to her off to the side, I don't have money for lunch. And I told her my story, and she said, don't worry about it. I'll pay for your meals every day that we're here. And I said, give me your address and I will send you the money when I get home. And she says, no, you won't. You'll pay it forward. And so that's what I have tried to do ever since then. We have been good friends. That first book I wrote with the picture of me holding this lady's hand is the woman who did that wonderful thing for me. And she had no idea who I was, but she was willing to take care of my meals for me. So I pay it forward. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dr. Romana. Very nice. Nice person. And if you think, for all of you, please, if you think of an answer, please unmute yourself, and then I'll call on you. Otherwise, I'll just call at random. Next question. When we go to bed, it's very common for our minds to be racing and thinking of all the things you did that day, things you didn't finish, and things you have to do tomorrow. If you just close your eyes, even in the middle of the day, what thoughts come to your mind, even right now? Dr. Valencia?
Grand Rising, Madam Table Topics Master. When I go to sleep at night, or I'm laying down to rest at night, our thoughts go to my day, even right now, or lay down to take a nap in the middle of the day. Thoughts of peace, of family, of my present situation, as far as my location, my inward breathing, my outward breathing, and the appreciation of life, and the things that I'm hoping for in the present moment enter my mind. Life is amazing and beautiful and can throw you curveballs all the time. Whether your business, your family, your friends, spouses, loved ones, and various leadership roles that you're in. However, they all have one thing in common, and that's you. We have the power to control our thoughts and to realize that we are not our mind. We are our body, but we are not our mind. Our mind will constantly constantly draw us away from where it is that we need to be. Constantly lead us through the past, the future, worrying, thinking about it. But we are one within ourselves. We're heart, body, soul, will, and emotions. And when we see that and recognize that we are not our mind and that we have the power to control our mind, then we can be at peace, relax, take deep breaths, and just enjoy the present moment. If you don't have much, there's someone that has less. As I wrote in a chapter of my book years ago, one person's complaint is another person's prayer request. And that is very true. So whatever you're complaining about, someone else is praying for. Thank you very much. And back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Dr. Valencia, thank you. When I was growing up, even before I went to school, My mother always said, you learn something every day of your life. What did you learn yesterday? Anybody want to tell us? We know we learned something yesterday. Mariatu, you have your hand raised?
Thank you. One thing I learned yesterday is while you're planning for the future, something else is happening to take you back. I've learned this before, but it hit me harder yesterday because as I'm planning, I have all write down everything. I'm always writing down goals, what to do, what not to do. And every time I check them off, and yesterday I was doing what I always do every morning. And then my daughter called and said, Mom, well, this was something I wasn't thinking of. And, you know, I have certain things put in place that are meant for certain reasons. And she called me and said, Mom, I need your help. And I said, what do you need help with? She said, don't get upset, but I need your help. And my engine blew up. And I'm like, but you told me you were always putting money aside for savings. What happened to your savings? And she said, well, Mom, I've just been telling you what I feel like you should hear. So all this time, she has been basically blindsiding me, saying that she's putting money aside, but she's not putting money aside. So now she needs me to help fix either fix her engine or figure out a way out to get her a car. So was I supposed to get mad? I said, you know what? I'm not going to get mad because everything I'm doing on this earth right now is for my children anyway. The reason why I'm running up and down freeways and opening businesses, it's for them anyway. So when they need me, I can step in. So I ended up cashing out a large amount of money that I was not planning for to take care of my child. So we plan, but you never see what's coming. There's always something that you're not planning for that happens. And that was what happened to me. Another lesson learned again, every day. My daughter blindsided me.
Mariatu, yes, being prepared for surprises and knowing how to handle a surprise that we don't like. It's always a good lesson to learn. Okay, next question. I'm always running around trying to finish projects that I didn't finish, including this morning because I got a notice from San Bernardino County Fire Department that I have my trees that we cut, the dead wooding and branches, they're a fire hazard and I better get them out or I've got a big penalty. Now I know that when I start a project, I gotta clean up after myself, even if it's in my own backyard. Looking back at some of the projects you may have started and not finished, which ones do you think are most important to go back and finish? Give us one example if you can. Anybody? How about bond?
Yes, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. It's a great question. This is specifically this whole morning, all the questions are so amazing, really inspiring. Regarding this question, I do have a thought which is related to what we are talking about today, which is my writing career, or let's put that way, the writing hobby. I was thinking about this as a hobby or as a career a couple years ago before COVID. was really serious because I was struggling with my career. I thought freelancer might be a option for me going forward. Then it was interrupted by many other things, including COVID, family issues. I dropped quite a lot, but this is always in my mind. I really got that kind of feeling, that kind of inkling, which is hanging around with Ras. There was something I feel unfulfilled. I need to get that done. Even I gave myself a lot of excuses. Maybe Ras is doing the same thing. I'm joking, but it cannot go away. It stay there. And I think one day I will come back and I will get that done in certain format. It's not writing casually and sporadically. It's something you need to put your effort in. Maybe this huge effort or challenge, which I will be potentially faced with, is something which is hindering myself from really sitting there and get my head down, get job done. But my writing career, I still don't know what career is that. I got huge amount of inspiration in this club specifically. We have so many authors, we have so many dreams here about writing. But so definitely I'm motivated. I'm thinking not from this morning, a long time ago, I should pick up this writing career or hobby and get that move on. This is some project I want to carry on after a break. Thank you. Back to you, Rosabelle.
Good answer. Thank you. Looking back at your life 10 years ago.
Last one.
Thank you. Looking back at your life 10 years ago, how close are you to the dreams you had for yourself back then? 10 years ago, comparing yourself to today. Are your dreams fulfilled? Are you working on them? Anybody? April.
10 years ago, I prayed a prayer. I was in burnout mode, as someone had shared earlier today. I was moving from Atlanta to California. I had several prayers, but one of my prayers was, Lord, show me how to get healthy. In my head, I thought, how do I eat more salad or eat more vegetables? But what God had in store for me was a whole different plan of what that meant to get healthy. Over the last 10 years, God has had me on a healing journey of learning what health truly meant. I had an opportunity that came through work, through volunteer, through my church. I met someone there volunteering. I shared my vision. And I said, I don't know who these people are. I was in burnout mode and I didn't care. I just wanted peace. Well, that ended up being an organization, a health education organization, to which I started as a volunteer and ended up with a 9.5-year career there, teaching, organizing, orchestrating paperwork for all of these health education classes across the Inland Empire. God has a sense of humor. I thought I was going to learn to eat more salad, but he taught me through that class what it truly meant to be healthy. We learned about cultural differences, history. We learned about mental health and wellness. We learned about barriers to exercise. We learned how to advocate for ourselves when it came to doctor's appointments. There were so many things that I learned over these last 9 years. And I can say today that I am healthy, that God has given me not just an answer, but a toolkit that I can now take with me. Before I operated from a place of fear, worried that burnout would show up again. But at this 10-year mark, I can look back and say, I'm not afraid of burnout anymore, because with those tools, I now know how to recognize it. I now know how to say no. I now know how to rest, and I now know how to get the help I need. And that is a part of being healthy, not just a static state, but a state of being and a toolkit that allows us to navigate and create health on a daily basis in the quiet moments, in the little moments, in the moments of decision, which I didn't have 10 years ago, which led to my burnout. So thank you for that question. And yes, I am my 10-year ago person's wildest dreams today. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Great that you fulfilled your dreams, and some of us are still working on them, and for all of us, they're evolving to better and better. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
Thank you, Rosabelle. Definitely thoughts worth thinking, and all the responses are very much worth chewing on. And hopefully it tastes good. At this point in time, we have an overall view coming with our general evaluator, Deborah Gillis. Deborah, how are we doing today? Are we having fun?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, thank you. Yes, we are having fun. Great, great, great morning. I just thank everyone. We started the meeting on time. Yes, definitely we did, with our Sergeant at Arms, Frankie, keeping us on track. She introduced our president of the club, Dr. Valencia Jones. And Dr. Valencia Jones always starts out with Grand Rising. Yes, yes. I love that that's what she does every time with our meetings. As general evaluator, I'm evaluating the meeting. We started on time, but as you know, if you were watching, I was taking so many notes. I'm not doing the individual evaluation, but there was so much being said. The challenges that was put forth from Roz Carter and Taya Reid this morning was amazing. They challenged us and made us thought-provoking to ask us questions, those that are entrepreneurs, as well as those that are contemplating being entrepreneurs. Our Toastmaster of the day, Werner, he started out with fun facts about the fun, what it is. Are we going to have fun today? Yes, we should have fun always. On that, our Rose this morning, Roz Carter gave information. She made us think about what to do. If you're listening to her and Taya's podcast, you'll know that it is challenging and it is thought-provoking for both of them. We had our table topics questions by Rosabelle. Rosabelle was amazing. She made us think about what we wanted to do. Rosabelle, thank you so much. I was writing down your topics and your questions regarding this. Everyone spoke forward. Because we're an advanced club, we know that Toastmasters has taught us to speak forward and to have others listen to us. Rosabelle, your questions were really giving us and reminding us that the contest is coming up and take call to action in our speaking. That was great as a reminder for this time of year. Starting out with an opening and a closing and a call to action to each one of us. So each question gave us a call to action as we were moving forward on that. Excuse me. Everyone's brainstorming and the questions back and the answers back to each of our brainstorming workshops. Our challenges were amazing. I wrote 3.5 pages of notes. I know I don't have time to talk about them all. I am not the evaluator, but it was so amazing. I know this is being recorded by Bon, our amazing PR person. Thank you, Bon, for everything. We have talented people within this club. We listen and we wake up on every other Wednesday morning to hear and the amazing speakers that are coming on board for this club, entrepreneurs on board. And the challenges that Taya and Roz brought forth was so amazing. I wish there were more people here to be able to hear their challenges. We will share this information, tell them you should have been there, because everyone, every speaker, every answer, every table topics were amazing. Werner, as Toastmaster of the day, he kept us on track. He let everyone know that there was only one more time that question that was available for us to speak. That's my evaluation for this morning. Great meeting. We started on time and we're keeping track with our agenda as we do always in entrepreneurs. Thank you, everyone. And now I have the other part of the tag team, which is our timer, Frankie. Frankie was amazing in keeping that. Frankie, would you provide information on the timing for today?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Raj, you spoke for 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Perfect timing for her 4 to 6 minute icebreaker speech. Taya, you spoke for 6 minutes and 9 seconds. Again, well within time. Our table topics, every single one of them reached the red screen. So that tells you how in-depth your questions were, because everybody had a lot to say. Dr. Lawana, you spoke for 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Dr. Valencia spoke for 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Mariatu spoke for 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Bond spoke for 2 minutes and 26 seconds. And April, you spoke for 3 minutes and 1 second. Good job, everyone. Even if you went over, it was well worth the time to just hear those wonderful responses. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Frankie, and thank you for stepping in as being our timer. We know that Toastmasters makes us be flexible. We learn all the roles within our clubs, and flexibility is a must within Toastmasters. And it is greatly appreciated that everyone knows how to step into the different roles that called upon graciously, gladly, tactfully. And now, I don't believe I have any more to say as General Evaluator for the meeting. Timer, Madam Timer, what was my time on General Evaluating the meeting?
Oh, I had you at 4 minutes and 32 seconds.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster Warner Kantara.
Thank you, Deborah Gillis. Very good. Certainly, we have had lots of fun this morning. What a way to start the day. We had 2 wonderful speakers challenge us, and we heard good comments and suggestions from our members. Keep on having fun. Although I understand that after this particular meeting, there will be another meeting, the executive committee meeting, I do believe. But of course, our presiding officer, Dr. Valencia Jones, will have more for us about that. At this point, this particular portion of the meeting is passed, and I do pass the baton back to Dr. Valencia Jones, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster, and thank you to every one of you today. I'm trying to put something in the chat, but it says that you can only place up to 10 chats per meeting. So Roosevelt, if you can give me permission, let me know so I can put the closing thought in the chat. Frankie, I see you. Let me know if you can grant me permission so I can put it in the chat. And Madam Frankie,
I don't know how to
I
do
saw
it.
your hand.
We'll have to explore that. I forgot to give you feedback time. Feedback for Roz was 8 minutes and 34 seconds, and for Taya, it was 9 minutes and 28 seconds. So I forgot to do that. Back to you.
Well, thank you everybody for an amazing meeting. We had a great beginning. We had amazing speakers, great comments, great spectators, amazing table topics, and I also learned a lot. I took notes on my phone as well as in my mental Rolodex. And our general evaluation was expounding amount of. So are there any other announcements that anyone would like to make? Because we still have 6 minutes left.
Madam President, excuse
Yes,
me.
ma'am.
As Vice President of Education, I just want to mention that November has 5 Wednesdays, And what that means is we get an opportunity to have a mastermind session on the 5th Wednesday, which is November 29th. Look for the agenda. Our mastermind leader is Dr. Valencia Jones, and her theme is No Limits. The entire meeting is devoted to mastermind as well as a general evaluator. So back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements about your business and or Toastmasters?
Do believe
Susan has her
Susan's
hand up.
Hi, Susan.
Hello. Yes, I do have an announcement. We are hosting a radio show on November 28th, which is Giving Tuesday. You'll see it on the banner behind me. So hopefully you will all call in just to show some support. It's about Giving Tuesday, that our nonprofit American Society of Community Benefits is hosting. So each year we do something because we are a community leader for the Giving Tuesday organization. And some background about that is that our nonprofit is it's not easy to get on the map. But in order to get on the map, we have to tell Giving Tuesday we are committed to helping other nonprofits in the area. So we're committed to doing that. And every year Giving Tuesday comes around, we do something for other nonprofits. This year, what we're doing is a radio show. So please call in. I don't know if you can see the number, but it's just a dial in, just to say hi. We support your cause. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We always
Thank
like hearing information from our members and from our guests. We appreciate you. Susan, if you want to join, you can always see our VPM. And Warner.
Yes, I might as well give an announcement. There is a meeting on the 30th that I'm going to be part of. I was part of one over in West San Bernardino, but I don't live in that area. And it's about, there's like $600 million or so that California is going to be spending on Southern California. And these particular sub-regional groups are going to be having input as to how to spend that $600 million. Amplify Communities in Riverside is going to be handling the part for the Western Riverside County. That's going to be 6 p.m. I have to find out exactly if it's going to be at their office or if it's going to be at a hotel like the other one was. But Amplify Communities is being involved with what is now Thrive Inland, SoCal. It used to be CERF. Anyhow, California Jobs First, something like that program. That's the California program. Inland Thrive Thrive Inland is the one conducting the Southern California area, and the subgroup for Riverside, which includes everywhere from Banning to Corona, including Moreno Valley. That's a Thursday, I think, November 30th, 6 p.m. It's going to be in person and also online, so it's hybrid. If you want any more information, I will put my email into the chat so you can I can send you or forward the actual thing to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your announcement, Warner. We appreciate it. Any other announcements for the good of the order? Frankie, I see you with one more.
I just want to notice that people are posting in the chat and it's still working. So it might be something on your end, because we have several posts after you. So I'm not sure what the problem is for you.
It was a picture. I just didn't do it. It said I took a picture of it. It was weird. It said up to 10 files. I don't know what it was. I just took
maybe
a picture of it.
maybe the picture file is too large.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, it was no problem. It was no problem. But thank you for trying to troubleshoot it.
You can just share your screen.
Yeah. Any other questions or announcements? Well, with that in mind, our closing thought for each one of you for today is motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. All of you successful entrepreneurs, habit is what has kept you going. Have a wonderful entrepreneurial week, and we'll see you on the 29th. Bye for now.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.
Happy
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Yes, time to say thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.